we have some retaining walls which need sorting out here. We need to just put something there, basically just to stop the moisture being sucked straight out of the concrete. We've got to use this rebar mesh, and we've got to put 4 sheets of that within the wall. So cross all these rebars over to form a very strong internal corner. Does seem a little bit overkill, but who am I to question the structural engineer? And then once that's done, we can start to get our actual shuttering framework built on top of this.
This is how we roll, baby. This is how we roll.
Good morning guys, welcome back to another day on site. What we're doing today is moving on to this. So we have some retaining walls which need sorting out here. Basically what we're going to do is build a 9-inch concrete retaining wall that's going to go around this perimeter here, and then return into here, approximately this point there, and then the same mirrored on that side. One little problem that you may see is this. So this is a gas main and our electric main coming in. So in a few days, well, next week I believe, these are getting moved. They're going to get rerouted. Basically, they're going to move over here like that and then come in. So they're going to go in the same sort of plane, but just further in that way, because they're currently in the middle of where our wall needs to be. What we're going to do is basically build sort of from here round to there. We can get all of that built in there. So we've just got a lot of metal framework to put up first, and then our shuttering to go up, and then we can get the concrete poured. But obviously we need to leave this for the time being to let the guys do their thing, and then once that's all done, we can then finish this off here, get that all in. And once this is all poured out here, we can then get our scaffer. Will the roofer, yes, is going to be back on this job, and he is going to be doing the roof for us, so it's going to be amazing to have him back on site. But we can't get him here until this scaff's up, so we need to get this wall in quick so we can get him back. Right, so first up, hi Pete. Hi.
Hi, Pete.
Hi Ian.
Hi, Ian. Hi, lads.
Hi. Hi Alex.
Hello.
Hi James. Hi everyone. What we need to do is basically get some plastic sheeting up against the back of these walls. So the structural engineer has specified that we put some sheeting up against the back here to stop any moisture being sucked out of the concrete straight away when we get this poured. Normally we wouldn't put any plastic up against it, but because it's literally being poured against this and then against the shuttering at the front, we need to just put something there just as a bit of moisture mitigation stuff, you know what I'm saying, basically just to stop the moisture being sucked straight out of the concrete, so it won't serve any other purpose apart from that. So what we're going to do is basically get some vertical stakes in the ground coming up all the way around the perimeter. We're also going to get some stakes into the wall here coming out this way, and then what we've got to do is we'll use this rebar mesh, this reinforcing mesh, and we've got to put 4 sheets of that within the wall. So we've got to have 2 sheets at the front and 2 sheets at the back, which does seem a little bit overkill, but who am I to question the structural engineer? This is what we've got to do, this is what's been spec'd, so this is what we've got to do. Because it's 10mm rebar rather than 12mm rebar, we do have to basically put 4 sheets of that in there. We could have used 12mm rebar and literally staked everything and done it all manually rather than using the mesh, but I think there was about 200 odd stakes just in this one wall here. That was just vertical as well because of the spacings that we needed, so it's just more cost effective and a lot quicker just to use the mesh and just double the sheets up. So we've got to put 2 sheets at the front, 2 sheets at the back, tie it all together. There's going to be a bit of a corner detail here which I'll show you a bit later on when we come to do it. And that's about it. We'll then have to get all our shuttering in to obviously hold all the concrete back, which is going to be a mammoth task. We got it there, haven't we, Pete? We've got it, we got it. Right, enough talking, more working. Right then guys, we've come in 50mm from the edge. Well, we've come in 3 inches actually, 75mm should I say, from the edge. So what we've done when we dug this out is we've allowed for our 18mm plies to go on the face of this, and then obviously we want to be 50mm back in with our rebar, and then measured from that 120mm back in, which gives us 50mm at the back as well. We've got our various pegs in across here just so we can get a string line all the way down. We've then cut this down to 800, so that brings us well within the rounds of where we need to be for our finished height, giving us 50mm on top as well. Now what we're doing, just put a couple of horizontal ties in just to hold everything in place, and now we can move this whole sheet forward up to these rebars. We'll get the string line out of the way, move it straight up to it, get this first one tied off, and then this will be our governing point. Then we can get another sheet in front, but just cross it over, so these vertical ones are in the middle of that, and then we can come to the front of this, so where our first holes are, 50mm back in from here, and then put our other sheets on the front. We've also got to do the corner detail, which we're probably going to do before we put these in, just to make life easier, at least start getting that in situ. So yeah, it's coming on nicely, Pete.
Beautiful.
Right then, we've got a good bit done. We've got 2 skins on both of these outer layers now, so now it's time to start getting the outer skin in. Pete is just about to start cutting. So when we cut these originally, it was a bit of a mission trying to hold everything up, but Pete, I've just seen, has come up with a very ingenious solution of basically tying this front one off to the back one, so when you cut it, this front doesn't just drop down. Well done, Pete.
Yeah.
Not just a pretty face.
Yeah. To be fair though, what I think I'll probably do though, is if I can just position me steel saw there, instead of cutting it from the bottom, we'll cut from the top.
Yeah.
And then that stops, and it just eliminates anything from falling.
Falling on top of you. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's get some cool slow-mo action shots of you, Pete, cutting this.
That's it, isn't it?
Yes. We have now got our internal corner, so I can show you exactly what we're talking about. So we crossed all these rebars over to form a very strong internal corner, and what that does, that basically prevents any pressure coming this way. It fully reinforces this corner and turns it into a pressure going against that way rather than against this way. According to the structural engineers, this is what he wanted, so this is what we've gone with. It is absolutely solid. We just need to get an additional skin on the outside here and this side, and then this side is then basically completed. We're just going to put a few horizontal pieces between these just to shore all this up, to make sure this is all nice and solid, and then we're good to go. We can then move over to that side and start getting that done. So we've got to do the wall from this side, around here, and then along here, where you can just see this small trench has been built. The only difference with this side is that we can actually get the whole thing done, whereas that side, like I mentioned before, we've got to leave because of the gas and electric coming through there. So once that's all done, we can then finish this side off here. There's no need for much more explanation to that. Let's just get on with it and get it done. Right then guys, so we're just starting to get this corner made up here. We've got our first skin there on the outer side, and then we're just putting our outer corner reinforcement in. So you can see that they're bent round to suit the angle of the walls here, because this isn't a 90-degree angle, and we've had to obviously bend the rebars manually. So we're gonna just take a trip over the other side and see Pete and his fabulous bending skills.
Yeah.
Show us what you're doing, mate. How are you doing this?
Well, basically, because you've got to clamp the material while you bend it, and obviously we don't really carry the equipment around. I mean, I'm sure you could use a pipe bender, but once again, we're not plumbers, we ain't got no reason to buy one. So all I'm doing is feeding it into the acro, keeping it about 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Just clamping it down like that, that holds the material, and also it gives it a nice bit kink point to bend the material. So all I'm doing, that's clamped, I'm ready to go. Round, lock it off with my leg, bend into it, loosen it off.
There you go. Beautiful, Pete.
2-minute job, happy days.
Who needs thousands of pounds worth of equipment to bend rebar? Not us when you got a Pete on site. So if you've never done anything like this before, just going to basically show you how we stick these bits of metal together, or just hold them together ready for the concrete in. So what we do is use one of these. I have no idea what this is called. It's a twisty puller thingy. and it twisty pulls these ties together. What's this called, Pete? Do we know? No, nobody knows. Let us know in the comments what this is, please. Basically just twists around like this. So what we do is we get one of these tie wires, and these just wrap around the rebar like that, and then the ends of the loops go together like this, and then you literally insert the hook into that, and then you just pull, and as you pull it twists around like that, and that ties the wire together, holds everything nice and tight, and then all you can do is just bend that over, and that holds everything in place, ready. You don't need to be super tight and make sure that nothing moves at all. It's good just to keep it as tight as possible, but obviously once the concrete goes in, that is the thing that forms the structure and holds everything nicely. So literally just tie like that, straight round, hook in and pull. Sometimes if you put it a bit too much, the end pops off like that, but it doesn't matter, you just fold that over and then we're good to go. Boom. Right then guys, it is the end of the day and we are done. So we've done pretty well today. We've got all this in. I know it doesn't seem like we've done much, but there is a lot of metal work that goes into this. A lot of prep, a lot of time tying everything and cutting everything. Peter's been slaving away on the steel saw all day. He's a broken man. We'll be back on Monday with more fun. See you later. Right, so today we are back out in the hole, getting our reinforcement mesh sorted out. They will be moved this week, so we can carry on and get that bit there finished, but we do have to get, or we can get, sorry, this bit in anyway, and then we can start building the shuttering framework up. Let's go down and see what's going on everywhere else. Hi Pete. Morning.
How you doing? You alright?
Yes, I'm good. So today we've got a lot going on. We've also got a very special guest on site this week, Mr. Tony. He's out there on the digger, you can see him in the distance. He's taken the job off my hands, which I'm very grateful for, of doing the drainage, getting all the drainage runs in. So you've seen we've dug all this lot out. We are potentially going to widen this now because we've come up with a new system. Well, we haven't come up with it, the manufacturers have come up with a new system of putting our drainage in, which will be explained once it's all going in. I'm sure Tony will do an excellent job of explaining all that to you while he's getting it all in. Rather than me trying to go through it and explain, it'd be better if you can actually see it happening. But basically what's going to happen is our channels are going to run across here, and then they're going to come out to a chamber here with a pump in, which is going to pump everything out. So it's making our life a lot easier. Also, the insulation that we were going to use, which was a 50mm glass insulation that went underneath the tanking, we're no longer using that. We're now using insulation which goes on top of the tanking, which is a lot cheaper, probably about 4 or 5 grand cheaper. So it's definitely worth using that. But yeah, like I say, Tony will explain the drainage as he goes through. Alex is over here doing some underpinning. So this wall here is basically built, as everything has been here, on a bit of clay, and it's quite a big wall, so we're going to need to underpin this whole section up to that point there. The reason we're doing up to that point there is because this wall is all going to be taken down. I've shown you before, it's very bellied. You can see there's a lot of buttresses, there's a big buttress there, there's one down there as well. Plus all these pillars, so we can take everything out. We're going to rebuild this wall all the way down because it is pretty dangerous, to be fair. So we're just going to get this bit underpinned for now. Once that's all underpinned, built up underneath, we can then start to build the extension. We just wanted to get the underpinning done first before we started on the extension, because we didn't want to risk any damage of these bricks, especially as Pete's done such an excellent job of sticking all these. The last thing we want to do is chip any and have to replace them. So we get this done first, and then we can start getting all this in. Also gives us time then to get all the drainage sorted out, and then we're rocking and rolling. James is over here just bailing out. Hi James.
Hi.
Hi. So there is another wow which you've seen. Alex has got all this dug out this morning. He's a machine, he's on it, he's literally going for it. Alex doesn't need a gym membership, he's got work. James is just currently bailing all this out, getting all the water out of here, and then what he's going to do is get some rebar. So where this course of bricks is, it runs all the way around the outside. We're going to get some rebar in just above the bricks into the clay, and then we're going to put some wire mesh across the top of that, and then we're going to basically mass fill this with concrete. So this can be fully encapsulated in concrete underneath our drainage and obviously underneath our slab. It is a bit of a pain, it is going to take a lot of material, but unfortunately we've got to do it, haven't we James?
Got to do it.
Got to do it, mate, got to do it. That is basically it. I've spoken for like 4.5 minutes. It's Monday. We need to get cracking. Let's do it. Let's do it, James.
Come on, John.
Yes. just update you on what's going on. So we've got all our framework finished in this area now. We've also started on our shuttering. We've just basically lowered an area down in here, and what we're going to do down there, we're going to basically plant some 6x2 in the base there. We're going to drill some holes in it, and then we're going to smack a load of rebar through that as basically ground anchors, so that will hold the 6x2 and stop it slipping. We're then putting a lip on the bottom of our OSB and latching it over, and then we can fix down into that to create our shuttering. I'll show you in a bit more detail tomorrow, hopefully when it stops chucking down with rain, and we can basically get all this. We've got our powered out from our house now, so we can get everything in, but once I'm down there I can actually show you exactly what's going on with that to make it a bit clearer. The lads have been cracking on downstairs. So the lads have got all this fully concreted. So we've got some rebar at 300 sensors all the way around the outside, and then there's some mesh in there as well. So it's all nice and reinforced, so we've got no issues with that ever slipping. That's all been done.
This is how we roll, baby. This is how we roll.
Yeah, getting soaking wet. So also we've got our underpinning done under here. We've got 2 nice sections done. So tomorrow the brickwork can be built back up under those as well. And then once that brickwork's all under there and that's all nice and safe and secure, we can then get this last section dug out, get that bricked up. We've decided here as well to remove some of this brickwork. I don't know if you remember, there's some blue bricks that came out to about here. But what we've decided is, because the face of the wall is actually going to finish about here, we would have just had some of this brick exposed there and also some of this little detail, so it would look really odd. So we've made the decision basically to get rid of this, and then we can build right up to that and then just put new brickwork in there. It's going to look a lot tidier, a lot neater, a lot nicer. Good morning guys, welcome back to another day on site. The rain is holding out. I mean, it is summertime, so we'd expect nothing less than torrential rain and all that. Right, so we're back in the hole and we are continuing with the shuttering. So what we need to make sure is that we have 50mm of concrete covering this rebar at all times. So what we've done here, we've set out our base rail, which has been staked into the ground, which is going to provide some additional support at the bottom. What we're going to do also is pack all this area here, this little trench, with a load of this clay that we've dug out, so it stops any slippage this way, which again reinforces the bottom. And then you can see here, this is our shuttering profile. So this face here will go on the inside against the concrete, and then we've got our stud framework on the back. You can see down here, there's a little bit of a lip on here, so our stud work finishes there, and then there's a small lip at the bottom. What that lip will do is just lock over here like that, again to provide additional support and stop the bottom kicking out. And we can then screw this bottom rail through into this, plumb everything up nicely, and then get everything shored off. So what we've done, we've taken a square line, worked out where we need to be here, taken a square line straight across there, and then we're going to do the same down this end now. Obviously this is a different angle, so we're going to need to work out exactly where our bit of 6x2 needs to go in here, dig our channel again, and then get that laid in. Once that's laid in, we can then get this long run sorted, and then we can start to get our framework up and get it all shored up. Nice and easy, 5-minute job, we'll be done soon, no worries. Let's get on with it. Right then, we've now got our base plate all around the perimeter in here. So you can see how that's all working out. Had to do a bit of careful working out for this corner. Obviously that side and that side is a 90-degree angle, so we had to make sure that was bang on. But with this, we do have a small amount of artistic licensing. Obviously we need to make sure our wall is still the same depth that we need, but we've figured that out. That's all works really well. Now that's all in, we've put our stakes in the ground as well. We've just sent them right through here, like you can see. We're just going to get some more stakes in this plate down here. And then once that's done, we can start to get our actual shuttering framework built on top of this. So we're going to do this side first and that side second, or vice versa. So basically the 2 outer edges before we do this one. The reason being, we're going to have our main supports coming across here like this from this long wall, because obviously there's going to be quite a lot of pressure pushing against this. So what we're going to do, because we can't brace this, well we can brace it as well, but because it's a smaller span and to save on the bracing, like you can see here, this shuttering will lock against this, so it will protect that corner from going this way, because we're going to have a lot of bracing coming across here, same that side as well. So it's just an additional lock off point basically to stop any pressure coming this way. That's all I've got to report for the minute. Let's just carry on and get it done. Right guys, so our first section is in. So this is our shuttering framework, what it's going to look like. So you can see now what I was talking about our 4x2 sitting on top of our 6x2. We can hopefully get the camera in here. You can see what I'm talking about. So this OSB comes down here and then laps over the front of this 6x2, which creates a lock. So any pressure coming this way is just going to push against that, and it's going to help us lock the bottom off. And And then our 4x2 base plate here is sat on top of that, which we can then fix down. We've only put some temporaries in for now, but we can fix that down into there. We've packed a load of clay in behind this, so there's going to be no leakage coming through from underneath. Nice and solid. We are basically plumb where we are now, but obviously we need to put some struts in anyway, so we can level it up properly from that. So yeah, that's it. We just now got to work our way all the way around here and get the rest of this in. Shouldn't take us long. Right guys, we've got the vast majority of this up now. We do need to do a bit of adjustment in this corner just to make sure both sides are totally plumb. But this side is all good, that side's all good. Our overlap here has worked really well. Again, with our adjustment there, that will sort this gap out here, so we're all good. Once this is all done, we can then work on getting all our props in to get all this fully secured and ready to rock and roll. And then we can move over to this side. Awesome. Right then, we are done on this side. This is all in, nice and solid. So we've got our bracing across the bottom, our bracing across the top, our corner braces in across there. We've got some triangulation braces going across to make those corners nice and solid. Again here as well, so we're bracing to the house. We may put something down here just to give that a bit more stability, but I mean, it is absolutely solid. This is going nowhere. Right, so next up, we're gonna start on this side, get this piece up here. So then this is all done basically, this whole side, and then we can move over to there. But tomorrow we do have the guys coming to do the gas, so we may be a bit restricted on what we can actually do in that side. But we'll get something sorted out. We always do. Right, let's crack on. The guys today have been and moved our gas main. You can see here, they've been and dug out all that, put a new main in from down there where it was plastic before, and now replaced the old metal pipework that was in. So now that's kicked it back, so where now wall comes across here, it's basically not going to interfere with this at all. This pipe isn't going to interfere with our wall. So that runs in, new main inside, and then we can reconnect that then at a later date when we're ready. All we've got to do now is wait for tomorrow the electric board to come and move this over again in the same sort of plane as that one, and then we're all good. We can carry on getting this in down here. So we're just going to crack on now with the shuttering. Same sketch as the other side. We've got our 6x2 base plate in. We're just going to make our framework up now, drop that straight in, and get this in up to a certain point. We'll just basically go a full sheet across here, and then yeah, that's it. That's all we can do at the minute until that electric is moved, but it will keep us busy for a little bit. So let's crack on. Right, what I'm doing here is basically just squaring these edges off, because quite often when you get a piece of timber, although it's a set length, it doesn't necessarily mean that the end is square and true. So holding my square up to this, I can see there is a little bit of a wibble in it, a bit of a wibble wobble. So although this isn't going to be joinery, it's, you know, we want it to be pretty close. So just get your square up against it, hold your saw on, you know, you've got a nice 90-degree angle then from here, a nice straight line is going to be cut. Boom. So I know now this edge is nice and square and flat, so I can take my measurement from that to get the measurement I need. Boom. Right then guys, so this is basically the framework for the back of the shuttering. So what we've done is basically left 150mm of OSB here and 150mm on that side before we put our studding in. So what that enables us to do is to basically get our corners up and then level everything up, scribe it, and then easily cut the back without having to keep moving this framework, which is what we've done on the past two corners. But we are evolving, we are learning. So basically, like I say, I've left this back 150mm either side. We've also got plenty of play at the top because that side is actually a lot lower than the side I'm on now. So I'm just getting my uprights in, 400 centres, squaring everything off, then I can flip it over, screw everything together nicely so it's nice and solid, and then we can get it over the other side and get it in. Right then guys, so we are making progress on this side. We left this framework back a little bit more just to allow us basically to level everything up easier and just scribe that internal corner. But what we've managed to do is basically just jack this up a little bit, jack that up a little bit, and it has worked really well. So we're bang on where we need to be. This side's plumb, that side's plumb, and then we've just reinforced the corner here with some chocks down like that. That corner is solid and is going nowhere. So now basically we're just getting this channel dug out here, ready for this bit of shuttering. We can't go too mad though, because like I mentioned earlier, our electric is being moved tomorrow, so we can't have anything really in their way. So we can just get our base plates down, get this all chopped out, ready, and then we're basically good to go tomorrow then. So yeah, we're just going to carry on getting this dug out, and then that will be it. Home for a much needed shower, because it's well up. Oh yes, Toad. Oh, he's nice wet t-shirt contest, A&E wet t-shirt. Tony's just testing the pipe work, making sure it all works.
What I'm going to do is I'll do a drop test on this as well.
Yeah.
So I'll plug that, and then what I'll do is I'll completely fill the whole system, and then we'll mark where the water is and make sure it's all good.
Ah, I like it, mate. I like it.
Yeah, drop test.
Yes.
Sure it works.
That is a good shout.
Everything's running beautifully, but I always like to do a drop test just to make sure there's no leaks. So at the moment it all went in nice and solid, which is good.
Yeah, smashed it in, mate. It looks good. It looks very good. And just for those of you who may highlight this, so as we mentioned before, we are very, very tight with our ground levels in here, weren't we, Tone? With our pipe work and stuff like that. Yeah. Hence why you can just see the top of this pipe. So we are going to speak to building control and see how they'd like us to cover the top of it, because obviously our 100mm slab is going on top of this. So whether we pea gravel it, we sand blind it, whatever building control decide is the best remedy for it, that is what we'll do. But that is why it's been left like this, not because we've just left it, because we're literally at our limit of our falls on this, so we've had to do this.
So I think I'll probably ask her to put some building sand on top. She's fine, so that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Probably a couple of inches of building and then put the concrete on. It's self-compacting, self-consolidating, and then obviously it's a structural slab that we put in, and it's a special liquid reinforced concrete that we put in. It's not just a normal standard concrete, guys. It's all be calculated as well by John, the engineer, at GCA.
It'll all come together nicely, won't it, mate? Yes, it always does, exactly. It's all part of the master plan.
It is. Coming out there, James, right? Hey,
boom.
Big thumbs up by James.
It's working, it's working. That is the end of this episode, where you've seen us getting all the shuttering ready for what will be, in the next episode, the concrete pour. So you get to see us doing this. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give us a big thumbs up, and also please subscribe, because we're so close to 100,000 subscribers. We've checked out the analytics, and something like 70% of you that are watching it aren't actually subscribed. So come on, sort it out. And also, one last thing as well, True Trade. If you're not signed up to True Trade yet and you're in the trade, why not? It is well worth a look if you are after any sort of help whatsoever with your business, or any way of streamlining your business. That will help you massively and make your life a lot easier, which is what we all want, isn't it? Take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.